in that last game.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a fully refined roster. It felt like Imp and Godby were doing all they could to win that game, hitting big plays together. But let's hope they haven't tilted themselves as we come into Champ Select.
Yeah, well, definitely. As Snake now with the first pick, opting to ban away the Alistair this time around. Draven and Cassiopeia once again going to be hitting the bench, and Varus, Vayne, and Alistair this time for Snake. So not opting to ban the Kalista, and Crystal might have an opportunity to pick that one up if LGD go for what we assume might be a LeBlanc ban.
It's a lot of AD carry bans again.
Once more, just,
Civ is available. Kalista needs to be banned.
There's a lot of AD carries that are top tier that they're just not banning.
They should probably ban Kalista. They got to keep the percentage of a 92% ban rate of Kalista at least active.
Yeah, they got to keep it moving up. But instead, they're going to ban away Azir. So someone gets Kalista, but LGD, Godby might be picking up the LeBlanc here. It'd make a lot of sense to me because him getting that champion again is just terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of possibilities, and you onto LeBlanc is a big factor as to why it went so well for them. And I guess the Thresh priority is a very interesting one to talk about here. Ella is an amazing Thresh player, but the Thresh being prioritized over, say, a Nautilus again, which is what we're used to seeing, and I'm glad they switched to the Fizz, but why not go, for example, the Gragas Fizz as your first pick?
But Thresh Kalista is so huge.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be the thing that they're looking at here, but TBQ in the last second going to head back to the Rek'Sai. Of course, Beast, a brilliant Rek'Sai player, putting a lot of priority onto that one, but LGD sort of failing to pick up a lot of what could have been the massive power picks in this game. And, you know, if Beast and you decide to lock in LeBlanc Hecarim now, I mean, that could be a thing. Fizz LeBlanc, just pick up a very similar roster.
Fizz. Definitely go Fizz LeBlanc would be my plan of attack, but then what would you want to take away from someone?
They don't need to pick the Gragas because they've already got a jungle.
That is true. And they've already got a support. So if you're looking to first pick, say, the LeBlanc, right?
Yeah.
You could afford to go that now. But if you pick LeBlanc, you've revealed your mid laner, and they could pick a champion that they're much more comfortable playing into it.
That's true.
I mean, they've got the Fizz taken away from Godby. That's big. Varus is banned. It kind of, from what we've seen from him so far anyway, limits him to the Orianna more. And they did pick LeBlanc into the Orianna last game. So the possibility was there to do that. Instead, they've decided to go for the Janna. And they've got the Fizz, which the Fizz is no surprise.
Yeah, Godby actually, I guess, I mean, they want him to show his hand, I assume, so that the sort of LeBlanc-Kassadin matchup isn't going to happen. And LGD, of course, Godby, a fantastic Kassadin player. He has locked in the Lulu, a flex pick, of course, so can head towards the top lane. Akon could play that if they wanted to, but look, I assume it's probably going to be the mid lane, and you're not sure whether he's going to be picking a Zed. But look, could happen.
It could happen. I don't find it too likely that it will happen. A real possibility is Zed's not that bad into Lulu, but it's very hard to kill.
Yep.
And this wouldn't be a surprise whatsoever. So besides that, they've got the jungler, and not a surprise. There's so many non-surprises right now in this drafting phase. It's almost like Snake, who won their last game, have just upgraded.
Yeah, instead of being forced onto the Sejuani, they can have sort of the all-round power of the Gragas. But in the end, Yu's decided to pick up the Twisted Fate. So wanting to roam around and get some kills very early on in this game. So snowballing out of control when the Juggermore potential... No, it's not a Juggermore. It's just a Lulu and a Kog'Maw. Yeah, I always just decide to say Juggermore when it's completely inappropriate. But the top laner now for LGD, they can go straight back to the Hecarim if they want. But it looks like it might be a top Lulu.
Yeah. The consideration of the Lulu pick third is that we don't know what lane it's going into besides not a support because Thresh was the first pick. So it could be the Kassadin mid and it could be the Lulu top lane. I was even considering at one stage it was going to be the Kog'Maw mid and they picked an AD last, but they've decided on the Kassadin.
Yeah, so Kassadin going to head into that mid lane. Godby going to take that champion up against the Twisted Fate. Not entirely sure how that matchup necessarily works, but Acorn on the Lulu into the Fizz. And look, I'm not even sure about how that one goes either.
When it comes to the top lane matchup, Lulu has a lot of base damage, but it's not really comparable to that of a tank Fizz. It's just going to be very hard for the Fizz to actually get onto Lulu and secure any kills. The wild growth, the shields, everything that Lulu can do will essentially negate any 1v1 assassin possibilities of the Fizz, unless the fish hits and you outplay the Lulu completely, which, I mean, Fizz is a skill matchup, it's possible. But against the Lulu, it's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, and Lulu just so much staying power in that top lane as well. You're just more than happy just to stick around
as well.
Yep, just clear those waves and hang out. And of course, Lulu neutralizes a whole lot of those waves. But what does Flandre build here? Because there's a whole lot of magic damage that he now has to contend with coming through from LGD.
Well, I wouldn't suggest the Trinity Force first item because
I'd always suggest the Trinity Force first item.
Trying to 1v1 the Lulu again, it's hard to do. Lulu's very good at the wave control and will keep you stuck under your turret, so you can probably afford to go for, if you're going for the Smite Fizz, get the Cinderhulk and then maybe just have the Phage with it because you always want the Phage. Work towards some magic resistance, perhaps. It's entirely up to him as to what he wants to do and what the team is going to do with him. If he's going to continue to split push, he can go for the Trinity Force if he wants. Lulu is more relevant in team fights.
Well, we'll see if that's what they are going to do, but let's hop onto the Rift. And here we are onto the Rift for our fourth game of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Snake versus LGD. Snake now on the red side of the map. LGD. Snake's already on the blue side of the map. LGD are on the red. Losing my mind just a little bit. And Crystal now poking his head out a little bit further than otherwise, but 5 members on the bottom side. They're looking to try and get something going on. Can you see the little red line?
No, you can't see the tether.
Oh, Imp's actually... Whoa, that's actually the ghost pop. The flash into the gold card. There's the flash Helen Gale as well. Yeah, a lantern exists, guys. That is... how many summoner spells? 4 summoner spells from Snake to get a lantern to be skilled first from PYL.
All of that effort, and they got a flash from Imp and a lantern from PYL. I mean... is it worth it? Depends if they kill Kog'Maw in lane from here on. It's possible that they could. They've got an Ignite on Ella, and that signifies that they kind of want to be aggressive somewhat. And, I mean, now that there's no flash, it's entirely possible. But I'm still questioning the worth of that.
Yeah. Okay, so pause is up. Snake probably going back to the drawing board now. Like, okay, now that we've used absolutely everything, what do we do?
Not use all of our summoners at level 1 on something that will
Well, you can't do that now. That's already happened. So it's now damage control.
Yeah.
They can see whether they actually can pick anything up. Of course, Kog'Maw probably just goes back to base. Going to be absolutely fine. We are, of course, going to be over, ladies and gentlemen, but seems like some topsy-turvy video games going to ensue from this point.
They have the Kog'Maw top now, though. Not having the flashes maybe scared him. It might have shook him up a bit. Might signify that he was worried about dying in a 2v2. Kalista has a lot of early pressure with the Janna shields in a 1v1 situation unless the hook hits. So they put Kog'Maw in solo experience. And again, everyone's loving these experience-based scaling AD carries that can rely on getting free farm in a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, so lane swap achieved again by LGD. Of course, dodging the Callisto, who can do a fair bit of work early on. But Crystal's Callista, this is what's been banned away from him all of the time. We'll see why here. See whether he can hard carry this game on what is his signature champion. Often able to get all sorts of things done that probably shouldn't be able to.
Did not even hesitate to instant lock it first as well.
No.
It's his most played by far. And with a ban rate of 92% again, why is it not surprising? He's going to be really good at it, but we'll see what he can do. He's up against the Kog'Maw, so hyper carry-wise, Kog'Maw does a very good job. But I guess mobility is the key factor in the difference between the teams. And you're up against the Twisted Fate here. Is a no-mobility Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Godby doing very well in this lane, of course. Does have the Doran's Ring, so going to have a little bit more health than you, but you with the sustain of the Flask going to be more than fine. But of course, Godby just an excellent laner in general as Beast. Able to lock that one down. Flandre actually with the Smite is going to secure that one for himself.
Good teamwork.
Yeah, you cheating towards the bottom side. I like this. Knows that the top laner and jungler are towards that area, so he's probably going to be safe. But TBQ actually heading towards the Snake members. Sprayseeker is going to find both of them. But getting some vision down now, and POL not able to find anything there with his threat.
And now the 2v1 has started to take shape of where everybody wants to focus their attention. You can see that all of the members of Snake, besides the Twisted Fate, of course the mid laners don't do anything involved in the 2v1, are just farming mid, and the rest are bottom. They're all putting all their pressure bottom, whereas LGD have a Kog'Maw who now has PYL there soloing the top lane with no one to contest him, freely last hitting.
Yeah, but it does mean that they're going to lose another very early dragon. So potentially Snake going for yet again that super dragon focused playstyle. Head to that 5th dragon, which they managed to get last time around. Is secured now by Beast at 4.5 minutes into the game, and LGD instead going to steal away the Wolves.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It is only the first dragon, and it's the natural rotation to take when the AD carry is not present in the bottom lane. The side that usually swaps their AD carry to top is the side that loses the first dragon. The important question is, will they be able to stop the next dragons from going down? Or will we see a repeat of the last game where 5 go down very quickly?
Well, Godby now with a 6 CS advantage as Twisted Fate going to head back to base as well. Might be able to grab a couple of Doran's rings, something like that, really augment his power here in the lane. Doran's ring and the Amplifying Tome actually the option that he's going to decide to take. Elder now supporting Flandre here as he enters the lane in the top side. They need to try and break this freeze if they can.
Kassadin is going to be free farmed. You mentioned that he's doing well in lane, but the second TF starts roaming, he's already starting to have a bit of trouble. 12 CS at 5 minutes is an exceptional amount. That's 2 whole waves that he has in fact missed. So if you were to look at the difference between the mid laners, TF is already sacrificing his lane to focus more on using the ultimate to have some relevance. And I mean, he's up against the Kog'Maw who's no mobility, so it's very easy to gank, but then you've got the Lantern to pretty much deny any possibility of that happening. We'll see what he wants to do once he hits 6, but I would suggest even utilizing the Callista damage and going at the Lulu.
Well, Callista is on the bottom side of the map, able to get a bit of pressure onto Acorn there as they're just farming it out. You now with some free time in the mid, locks in the blue card, tries to get something done. Missing a whole bunch of farm. Unfortunately there, as all of the creeps relatively similar health margins. Actually stunning up Godby here just a little bit. Stack deck now available, but doesn't get the auto attack. And then from PYL at levels 5 and 3 now. Imp really reeling in all of that experience, and it means that the 2 level 3s that they're now facing off against, not going to be able to do too much, but thankfully the wave pushing in here for Snake, so they'll be able to get at least something. You copy some aggression from Godby. Level 6 finally hit. Destiny available for the Twisted Fate.
He's going to have to use it eventually to find some relevance, because the longer he stays in this lane, the worse it's starting to get. You can see Rek'Sai with the sonar radar spotting him out, so you know he's just around the corner. Gragas is there as well though, so they might even clash right now in the jungle.
Yeah, TBQ going to be taking down those Raptors. Beast with a fair bit of damage, of course. Gragas pretty powerful, but Beast secures his escape with a tunnel, and
look at that.
Reapers.
That's actually a blasting one, Kassadin. He knew he was ahead in lane, and he's pushing that back.
Yeah, there's the flash forward as well. Couple of turret shots, but Godby not going to mind about it. And that's going to be First Blood going down in a 1v1 in the mid lane.
And if ever there was a bad situation to be in, it would be this Twisted Fate right now. Yu is on struggle street against Godby, and Godby is also a Kassadin.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And Yu needs to now put on his best Pawn impression. Of course, Pawn playing the Twisted Fate into a horrible matchup against LGD as well, but still managing to get the Destinies in the right places and win the game in the end. So that's what Yu has to do. But look, this team is not EDG Yu. It's just not the same.
He does have the aggressive crystal, and he's got Beasts on Gragas, so it's possible to... He's got the team to enable that for him, facilitate the roams that he wants to make, and well, has to make, really. But will he be able to do that coming in the next 2 to 5 minutes to have some money, or will he continue to essentially get wrecked in this 1v1?
Yeah. Well, Godby did take a stun. Flandre is going to go aggressive on him. There's the Ignite. Oh, another one. But Destiny's in. Yu just destroys him. A Cathian surprise. No surprises here, as Yu's not too worried about that one at all. And Godby continues clearing out the mid lane. He's still very far ahead in farm, but you can't really rotate as quickly as a Twisted Fate with his ult.
No, not just yet. You probably look towards the level 11 Kassadin, perhaps when he starts to be able to roam a lot better. Has the mobility behind the ultimate, and I mean, he's going to be able to get the blue buff now, so if ever there was a chance for him to either cement a lead in lane or start to rotate with his jungler, it would be now. But everyone's just starting to recall because there's no Twisted Fate ultimate available.
Yeah, and Snake actually, creating themselves 200 gold advantage. You would have thought passively with the fact that this mid lane is going so far in favor of LGD that perhaps they'd be the ones getting a bit of extra fruits for their labor, but not going to be the case this time around. Crystal on 80 CS to the 75 of Imp as well, who has fallen down. Now picked himself up a Sheen and the makings of that Phage. As Crystal and Ella moving away from PYL Imp here in the bottom lane. So the 2v2, a lot of respect from the Snake members.
I would suggest coming back down towards the bottom lane, though, and not going to top, because the Dragon is up in 45 seconds. You can see Fizz recalling, but instantly rotating back to the top lane. What looked like it was going to be a swap has now changed their minds. The teleport advantage well and truly in favor of Snake. And if they go for this second Dragon, it'll be at about 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you just shoving out the wave, wanting to make sure that Godby can't get too much down onto him. Actually, Godby going for the tier build as well. Let's have as much mana as possible. That is really interesting.
You have two kind of routes. There's always the Rod of Ages route, but you can opt for the Athenes, which gives you the mana reset back, or you can just have a raw mana amount. So instead of just going for that Rod of Ages, he's gone for the tier because he's ahead enough in lane that he can afford to do so. He's going to be quite comfortable, and it scales. It's one of the most cost-efficient scaling items once you upgrade that, and you get the Arcane, which then finishes into the Seraphs. So not a bad decision here whatsoever.
Well, you might need to be a little bit more careful now as well, as there's a TBQ waiting in the wings, but it's going to be Godby just clearing out the mid lane, killing the minions, and then moving on. So 21 CS the lead now. So you has at least equalized it, made sure that it's not extending that advantage. So many pink wards for Snake there.
Speaking of pink wards, I really like the one that they've placed deep inside the jungle of Snake. That has been there for an exceptionally long time, and has not been spotted.
Not too bad at all. Didn't actually notice that for quite some time. Just wasn't looking at that area. There are pings down here as TBQ is going to take out a pink ward, but now heading forward. And blue card just to kill some minions. So Snake continue to pressure on the bottom side. There's Destiny pop though. Nice double knock up. Immediate death sense though is used, forced to flash away. Immediately LGD trying to rotate around. Imp's going to die as Flandre picks up the kill. PWL might be the next option here for the Fizz, who's just the fadeaway fish, and they secure the victory. But TBQ now with the double knock up. Beast trying to escape. Elamine needs to flash away, is going to. It's a 2 for 2 after that dive. Godby not quite able to get there in order to clean up. But Snake, I mean, I guess they'll take it?
Oh, definitely take it, because you had the teleport usage. And, I mean, you wanted the Dragon to translate from that. There was a dive to give them the opportunity to do the Dragon. Now they're looking at maybe coming in later and stopping it, because TBQ is getting low. We'll see what... nah, they're still doing the Dragon.
Yeah, they're still doing it. It's not... it's taking a while to go down. Of course, now on about 1,000 health, 800. Oh, he secures it. Explosive cast, not quite enough, and evening out the dragons now is LGD. So picking their first dragon up for this series, definitely a big deal here, because we mentioned the fact that, you know, as these games progress, you're getting a lot of stats from at least that first dragon.
Yeah, so they've picked up the first dragon, and this is a great sign for LGD. Now they've got the Kassadin doing a lot of work in a very comfortable position, who is almost towards that Rod of Ages. You've got a double kill now onto the Rek'Sai. It's exceptionally large compared to that of Beast on the Gragas. He's got the Kindle Gem working towards the Aegis, I would assume, the Locket.
Yep.
He's in a very strong position, in the right place at the right time as well, to counter that teleport and TF gank, which was a dive in a very risky position, which did not go to plan.
I really like what Crystal's done here. Of course, noticing the fact that he's got the Eye of the Storm available, you can get the Hurricane instead of the flat AD of the Bloodthirster. Go for that Ren build now, especially because there's no sort of pure tank on the side of LGD. I mean, TBQ is going to be tanky, but he's a jungler, not going to have as many resources as a top laner. So able to go for that Ren build that's more about AoE and more about killing squishies rather than melting through tanks.
Yeah, most likely going to get the Bloodthirster second item as well to be able to sustain through the burst that'll come out of the Kassadin, and even to a degree the Lulu, that aren't necessarily tanks as you mentioned, but they will still be outputting an exceptional amount of damage. So once they get that Bloodthirster ramp up, or even a Blade of the Realm King might stick with a Cutlass, just needs the lifesteal. And once that lifesteal is there, they'll be in a very good position to pick a fight, maybe utilize the TF some more, get the Fizz teleport in, and just work around this Kalista, because we know how strong he can be on this Kalista.
Yeah, Crystal's Kalista. is a huge deal. But Trinity Force now for Imp, who's on the Cogmore. Of course, the scaling advantages that Imp has been opting into this time around. Not necessarily having it in the mid-game like he's used to with the Lucian picks that he has been known for in the past, but instead opting for the likes of Cogmore and Twitch in this series. Turret's going to fall down. Nicely timed, actually, knowing that the minions were going to be enough. As Crystal and Ella just going to take down the Krug. So heading gold are Snake, but not by too much. And LGD, again, with probably a scaling advantage this game. I don't like talking about it because, of course, it doesn't often happen that way. But Twisted Fate, not exactly going to be as important in a team fight as a Cassidy.
Twisted Fate is kind of underrated in how well he does scale into the later stages, though. Once you start to get to the 3 to 4 item stage and you can work towards a Lich Bane as well, you can afford that as Fish. Wow.
Oh, wow. What? That should have landed. There's the explosive cast, though. Able to Urchin Strike over the top. Slowed down by the Playful Trickster. And not going to be enough here with the Wild Growth, and Flandre just locks down the kill. Actually, it's going to be Beast, but that was a red buff. Pretty cheap.
Either way, they still pick up the kill after what was a very unlucky Fish not hitting there, and it did stop directly on top, but the hitbox not in the middle. So they do get the kill. Lulu going down, has the teleport up, and that was a great gank from Gragas to get in there. Beast giving his team some momentum in the top lane, and putting that momentum onto Flandre is a big positive for them.
Yeah, Akon has completed that Athene's Unholy Grail. Was just happily farming. Hadn't really seen too much from him at all, but has now been destroyed by the jungle pressure of Beast. Beast is a fantastic Gragas too. One of his sort of favorites as we move towards the Cinderhulk meta. LGD now pressuring this bottom lane, utilizing Imp's Power Spike with this Trinity Force just to get some extra auto attack damage down on this turret. The Sheen Proc fantastic for that. Living Artillery as well. Look at that clean up the minions. Nicely done.
So calculated.
Oh yeah, lovely stuff. We are just going to stop for a moment, but it is going to be the Destiny popped in the bottom lane. Yu does get the stun in completely out of mana as Yu's going to flash out of the way. Ella, Fate's call. There's the knock up as Imp headed back towards Yu. You were a bit worried about it as Crystal's going to lock down the kill. Now trying to martially poise his way around the team fighter. Cathy in surprise gets him very, very low. Godby now in towards the fight. Gets belly slammed as Ella's trying to get in there, but the Riftwalk going to secure the kill for Godby. Acorn going to fall down as Crystal locks himself another one. That's a kill for the Fizz as well, but Godby super low, trying to clean up. Playful Trickster again stolen away. Beast locks it down, but 4 dead. PYL the only man standing.
Beast is very good at unintentionally taking those kills away from his team, but Crystal kiting around for so long in that fight, had the Vamp Scepter, the lifesteal we were discussing earlier, and managed to stay alive with about 300 health at the most, ended the fight with completely full health. That was an exceptionally well-timed team fight. They caught Imp out of position. He stayed for an extra wave just to get the last hits down for all the gold possible. Puts him in a great position here, this TF now, to be able to continue to impact at max CDR as well, I believe.
Yeah, and with a Distortion enchantment on those boots as well. So going to have that Ghost and Flash as available as possible. And yeah, you're right, 40% CDR, so locking in wild cards and gold cards and all that sort of stuff, all the good stuff.
Speaking of items, we do have the Phage and the Cinderhulk completed here from Flandre, so we'll see what he wants to go after the Phage, if he wants to opt towards the Trinity Force or go for some early magic resistance with perhaps a Spectre's Cowl before going any further. But it's entirely up to him. He's against the Kassadin Lulu, and even Cogmore to a degree does magic damage. So you could opt towards early MR and just start to accelerate your team fighting capabilities, which would be the ultimate goal if he went for that.
Yeah, I very much like building magic resist here. I'd personally opt for a Wit's End, but I'm an idiot, so it's probably not what he's going to
The
pick up.
concept is there, just not the practice.
Yeah, it's just not a great item at the moment. I just really like it. But it does shred magic resist and provide attack speed, because it is relevant.
The Black Cleaver of magic resistance
you use
items.
everything that it provides for you. Flandre, they're looking to try and put some pressure on this dragon. LGD managed to get the last one, but Snake now wanting to get positional advantage. Haven't quite cleared out the wards around this area yet, and then instead just going to destroy the mid lane outer turret. And Snake looking like they've managed to peel themselves off a fair bit of control over this game.
They have managed to secure themselves around a 3,000 gold lead. They just got the mid turret. They've already gotten the bottom turret and even kills in the top lane from clever rotations from Beast and clever timings with the Fizz teleport and the TF ultimate usually being used at the exact same time. It's very, very clever of them to work around the mobility, and Godfrey can't rotate as quickly. Getting there late for the most part in all of these fights is 3-1 now, though. Did find a double kill in that last fight. If it continues to happen with this trend of a prolonged fight, if they don't take LGD down quickly enough and the Cassidans can get there, he's level 11 now, people will start to fall.
Yeah, and Snake now looking to head over here for this Dragon. The knock up onto TBQ, it's down to 3,000 health, but Snake pressuring them off it. Crystal now looking for a potential flank maneuver here. They have the Fate's Call available. A lot of members of LGD now grouped up. The knock-up could be huge.
They pushed them out.
Yeah, they've secured themselves the control of this area. Howling Gale once again not going to find anyone though. LGD now looking to reset. This Beast ended up through. Death Sentence not going to find him. And the vision just not quite there yet for LGD.
Smart of Snake. Ella, and Crystal to actually walk all the way back around. They couldn't continue to stay on the flank because eventually they just would have been in a bad position for half a second and got engaged on. So smartly walking around, they get control of the blue buff now, but they find themselves caught between a decision of, regardless of the Dragon, the ability to push mid is there for LGD, but they're also pushing bottom at the same time. So what is the next rotation going to be? Will they go for the Dragon?
LGD that looks like they're caught between a rock and a hard place here. There's a lot of vision available for Snake, so they'll know if the Dragon gets started. LGD not with all that much damage for it.
I think they still want to fight.
Yeah, losing a whole wave of minions to the turret there as well as... Oh, TBQ might be caught out. There's the Lantern. He's on cooldown now. Is Crystal actually taking a fair bit of damage here? The Fish going to do a lot of work, though, as the Cassidon gets knocked back into the team. There's the Wild Growth onto him, but he gets rendered to death. Pierce coming through as well, as LGD going to have to run out of there. Nice stun from you, who's just skirting the outskirts of the fight. A slow from that, and look at this Kalista just smashing through the team fight. The wild cards. Flandre finally nets himself a kill, and that's the ace for Snake. Clean work, and they'll go to the Baron.
They're going to go for this Baron, and this is why you do not give Crystal Kalista. 5, 1, and 6, working towards that Bloodthirster. He can just skirt around the outside of that fight. Didn't even need to have an impact for the first while, but knows when to go. You have to give a lot of credit to Beast, though, knocking Cassidon, towards his entire team with that explosive cast, enabling them to get that Baron in the end. And maybe not... They won't get the Dragon, but they do win a convincing team fight with every member going down, followed by the Baron. They're in complete control.
Yeah, and actually a lot of members of the team actually speeding up now out of the base, able to get towards this Dragon and try and get that one for themselves as well. The Distortion Enchantment on Yu's boots has meant that his Flash is back available once more, so we can have Flash Gold cards for the next fight if we see fit. But Snake now with the Baron, able to take down the Dragon if they want. There's the teleport, actually. And the Destiny as well. The Lantern's down, and double knock up from Ella. And look at the LGD members melt. And man, that bottom lane died so easily, and it's just looking really textbook here for Snake.
And this is the problem with the no mobility imp that we have been discussing, being Hogmore. Ever since level 1 in this game, it felt like if you were Twisted Fate and you were going to pick a lane to go to, you utilize the fact that the only one who has some kind of mobility is a Lantern. But if they're together at any stage, we've seen the teleport and the Twisted Fate ultimate come through at the same time and catch them completely out of position. Even if it goes somewhat badly for Snake and they get a double kill for Godv as an example, they still get the kill onto Imp and PYL. And it's starting to really hinder the performance of this LGD lineup.
Yep, and they are going to get the Dragon as well as the inner turret in the bottom lane. They may lose the inner in the top as there's a massive minion wave dying there as well. Beast going to clear out some tunnels. There's Ella just hanging around with Crystal. They want to get something down. Oh, PYL and Imp just respawned, and PYL dead once more. Crystal now trying to turn onto Imp. Look at the damage for this Kalista. He's diving the turret. Fate's calling to Ella. He's burning down as they have to be careful. There's the Mikhails. Waits to the last second and rendered to death. Baited and outsmarted there onto TBQ, man. Beautiful play, and this is why you don't give Crystal Kalista.
This is just cruelty right now. They wait for them to respawn and catch them in rotation. PYL trying to put some wards down. It's starting to have a massive impact on not just the bottom lane, where Crystal is phenomenally big. He doesn't even care that a turret's there.
The turret didn't even notice it just then.
I think he got rid of the Bloodthirster overshield maybe, and that's it. They get another turret in the top lane. They did pick up the mid inner turret. This side is getting bigger and bigger. We're at 11,000 gold lead at 24 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And it's now just the surgical removal of the objectives as well. As we have a look at this gold lead, and 3,000 gold in the top lane approximately. Look, Beast is sitting on 2.1k. 3-0 and 10 for this Gragas. Has just went and spent his gold. Almost 2,000 gold ahead. But look at the mid lane. I mean, man, 2,000 gold ahead for this Twisted Fate, who was getting pretty owned the early stage. But look at the 10 assists that he's picked up. He's just hung around with his team, and they've won the team fights.
They've won the game through clever rotations. And you're right, he was having a very bad time.
He was not having a good time.
He was losing pretty hard, but he is Twisted Fate again. So there's the threat that regardless of how your laning phase goes, you're going to have this relevance. And the important part is if that works out as you intend it to. And I think it's worked out almost better than intended. They've picked up all of these kills onto the bottom lane, and Flandre.
Oh, actually, Godby forced to get out of there with the Rift Walk, dodging the knock-up as well, but turning this one around. Nice work from Ella just to get in there to disengage here for the Fizz. But when a Kassadin is blinking red after a 1v1 at this stage of the game, you have to be worried.
And meanwhile, in the top lane, we have ourselves Yu, just casually farming all of the minions and drawing attention from what is now 3 members of LGD. They can just completely reset what they're doing right now. Their strategy is just to control the jungle area, catch people out of position. They've got Beast clearing wards now with the pinks. They're sitting on top of pink wards themselves. If they just stand still and don't let the Rek'Sai actually spot them, they'll be able to kill anyone.
The thing that I've been impressed with the most is Snake's vision. They've got so many wards, and it's because they've changed up their playstyle to allow for so many of these warding totems to be picked up. Sort of the upgraded green, yellow trinkets, meaning that they've always got wards on hand. You saw around the dragon buff, wards were getting cleared and then put down again, cleared, then put down again, but Snake just had more on hand.
Well, what is the most impressive part is the fact that they've gone for these yellow trinket upgrades to get more wards down. They've also got double Sightstone for the record.
5 pink wards.
Exactly, that's what I was about to get to, is they've got all of these pink wards in relevant positions. They're constantly rebuying and replacing all of these pink wards. Instead of needing the extra sweepers, they just place a pink ward in that area, and then they put all of their yellow wards down more aggressively, and they slowly bring up the line of warding. It's really, really impressive to see.
Well, you can see right now that there's barely a red ward on the map.
Look at all of the wards.
It's so far up as well. This is the most aggressive vision line that I've seen for a very long time at 26 minutes into a game.
If it was any more aggressive, it'd be under their nexus.
It would be in their base.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's no other option.
Oh,
dear.
They're looking towards the Dragon and the Baron now. There's not too long until they're both available. And this could be a very good closeout point for Snake to actually secure the advantage they have. But instead, they could just tank a casual top turret while they're going and waste some time, because that's what they want to do.
Yep. Easily able to secure themselves 13,000 gold lead with another objective. That's all of the outer turrets gone, only the inhibitors remaining. As I guess they do have a whole lot of split push potential. This is what happens. The 1-3-1 for this team is disgusting.
Yeah.
What with Fizz being gigantic, almost has that Frozen Heart on top of the Trinity Force that's now being completed. But you as well, I mean, he's got the makings of a Luden's Echo or, in fact, a Rabadon's Death Cap, depending on what he wants to do with that Amp Tome. And he's just going to be eating through turrets.
Well, the important thing to pay attention to is that the TF doesn't have a Sheen.
Yeah,
he hasn't opted towards the split pushing style of build. He's actually just split pushing so that he draws attention to actually team fight with his ultimate. Now, you do have the Trinity Force finished here on Fizz. He can very easily 1v1 and split push against anybody. So it is a kind of 1-3-1 split. But the focus is Fizz splitting and TF baiting someone to his lane to actually rotate and team fight.
Well, we'll see whether it is going to work. Of course, everyone's sort of focusing towards the top side. Teleport available from Flandre, so he's able to head down the bottom. Godby had pushed that one out, but Flandre is going to meet it as it stacks up here. Cinderhold burning down the minions. He's just going to smack them with his Seastone Trident. Nicely done. Godby does have that Zhonya's Hourglass completed. There are some items being built by LGD that might be able to help them here. Blade of the Ruin King for Imp is another option. 2-item spike onto Kog'Maw, but 2 items at 28 minutes, man. Getting a bit worrying here. Sentinel going to spot off a couple of members of LGD as TBQ is searching for someone. Godby may have found something here as Beast going to find himself uncomfortable. He's going to get melted pretty quickly, but he's pretty tanky as well. Flandre actually baiting them around, and look at Crystal. The Ren set's possible here. Double kill immediately, able to jump almost over that wall. Doesn't get it just yet as the Marshall poise. He's looking to try and hunt down an Acorn, but not going to be able to get there, and he's going to survive. But that's 3 dead here for LGD. The Monsoon going to keep Ella alive as they're going to break the base now as well. The inhibitor turret going to fall down, and that's the surrender vote for LGD. Snake, this is looking like Snake from early last split. They are gigantic right now.
They're starting really strong at the moment, and they cemented a lead from we started with a very rough laning phase for the Twisted Fate, but the team comp and the synergy of them just came through so strong, picking up kills on this bot lane, picking on Imp, and just absolutely obliterating the Kog'Maw's relevance in this game, translating that all into Crystal. And we have so many reasons right now in this game. I can think of every single kill he has is a reason as to why he should continue to get banned away from him.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to try it out every now and again because, of course, he's been banned away from Crystal for so long that you might think, oh, maybe he's forgotten how to play it. But not quite how it works. But, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a slight replay. Let's have a look at this one to bring us out.
Now, this is the big fight where you can see Snake start to come through with their strength. And the initiation's great from LGD, but the Gragas ultimate, straight into Kalista. And this is the Kalista show from here. She gets the reset. Beast is just sitting in the front line. They get one stun down, and I believe this is quickly, promptly followed by the triple. The aggression in the positioning that Kalista actually puts down is unbelievable. And that's just the perfect example of why you can't really fight that Snake lineup, because they rotate on you too quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, that was when the game was relatively even as well. It was just that one team fight straight into the Baron, and Snake, they know how to snowball a game. They know how to get the team fights in the right positions, and as soon as they do, they get the Baron. They grab turrets. They pick up whatever they can, the easiest objective, and they just seem to know where they can do the most damage to the enemy team after they get any sort of advantage like that, and it's wonderful to see. And it's great to see that a Snake team that we saw faltering just a little bit over the last couple of weeks are really pulling it together again.
They started to feel like, I guess with PYL coming back, it helps a lot with teams' decision-making, and they feel like a much more well-rounded and just calm, methodical team.
Yeah.
They seemed like they were just very, very calculated, and nothing was too hard for them to do. And every decision resulted in something, as you said.
Yeah, and it was great to see, of course, as well, Flandre on it. One of his favorites, the top Fizz, back again. Of course, Cinderhulk now making him even more relevant. Flandre probably didn't need that to get him to play that one more time. So really great to see that as well. But ladies and gentlemen, M3 versus OMG are going to be after this.